All right, so I decided to start early. Hello, Aaron. How are you? I decided to start early because I didn't want to wait. Oh my gosh, two for two errands. Well, um, what can I say? This is a pretty magical moment. Twins. Oh man. Now I'm glad I started early because all the errands in the room. Ooh, this coffee's hot. Well, um, yeah. So, geez. Well, you guys enjoy your conversation with yourselves. Yeah, I decided to start early because, well, I had been at the coffee shop doing this, and then I realized that it was cold out. For some reason, it's cold tonight, and tomorrow's going to be cold. I don't know why. I don't know why. It just will be. And so I decided that I needed to come back here, and then I decided I should stream, and then I decided that I didn't want to wait 7 more minutes to keep going. So that's the extent of it. Yeah, more errands is more better. All right. So, for anyone who's been following along at home, I'm actually going to show the latest magic spell that I've been working on. It's not really magic spell. It would be wrong to say that this is a magic spell. It's not a magic spell. I mean, it is a magic spell, but it's not like a named spell. I've just been trying to get... Ooh, I gotta change my settings here for my audio. Otherwise, you can't hear the magical sounds. Let's see. Internal. Okay, so let me just put my headphones on. Make sure this is working. I can't hear anything from my headphones. I can see that my mic is working, but I can't hear it. And no.
This will come in handy.
All right, well, that seemed to work. All right. Well, I can't hear myself, but that's okay. We're just going to assume that it's working. All right, so I got a few things here going on. First, I've got this preview sphere that just kind of shows you where the spell's going to go. You can, if you do hover over things that's within range, they'll just lock to that, and you got that little targeting symbol on it as well. Same with the ones that are up here. But this one is a spell that will always hit the ground. So if I go above to the air, it's going to always follow on the ground. It's a little bit delayed, which I don't like that, but whatever. And that's why when I go up here, you see it kind of jumping around because it's going to find the ground or an object to hit on. And when I do cast it, it looks like this. That's from Realistic Effects Pack 4. So that's why it looks so cool. But I think I want to learn why that's happening. If I press spacebar, it'll just find the closest one, just like the arrow does. And if I do hit the middle here, then it just goes to the middle. And if I go to the air here, it goes to the ground too. And if we go over here to these, you can see what happens when we kind of, you can choose up here and you can kind of see it go up there. Otherwise it jumps down. But it gives you that preview, so I can say, okay, well, I want it to hit right there. And then it goes there. Or, whoops, or I want it to hit here. That hits there. So that's cool, right? And then, so before I move on from this one, I want to show the other ones, but before I move on from this one, I need to get them actually doing damage, because right now there's no damage being done. And that's because I didn't actually code that part yet. Because I've been trying to do this in a good way, and I've got the separate out magic spell instant trigger trigger this spell, it gets used. Where is it gets used? It gets used. Where is it? Trigger. Right here. Cast spell at point. And there's 2 usages there. Yeah, so if I can try a cast spell on an enemy, or if I try to do at mouse click. Okay, so this is where it's supposed to actually trigger the damage. And, oh, hey, Jason Wyman. Ha. Yes, it is pretty. It's very pretty. And you can't hear me, but I'm talking to you anyways. So, just realized you said you were muted. And here I was talking to you. Yeah, so now we got to go to the trigger and actually do some actions here. And really it's doing the damage. Let's see. I think we need the compute damage, which happens magic spell projectile setup. I think I just need to figure out where the damage is actually caused. That's believe I can copy arrow collision AOE, area of effect, and what do we got here? We have handle actors damage and handle player damage. So these are the 2 things that we got here, and I think I can probably just copy these 2. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to not put them in the same method because there's always a chance that I'm going to actually change this later for the instant ones versus the collision ones. But for now, we'll just do it like that. So handle actors damage, and then what's it going to be for? This is, I guess, going to be the transformed up position. I don't even know if we need that actually, but we'll keep it there for now. All right, so if magic spell instant. So if where are you on that? This is a overriding or whatever of that. So if we can't damage players, then we'll just return out of it. Otherwise, we're going to take the distance between the player position and collide position, which is really this position. So we're going to call this, well, we'll put it up here. Vector public private vector 3 position position equals well all right, I can't type today. All right, so equals that, and then we'll just use this on all these places. There we go, and then we'll use that here as well. I don't think we need this at all. Okay, so the distance between the player position and this position, and then we'll take the if the distance is greater than the radius, then we'll return radius. Where's radius? Radius. Why is it here and not there? Oh, because we are doing a different thing. All right, so I guess I'm gonna need that value here. So private float radius and public float radius is going to say radius, and then and then we'll say a public void set radius var or float new radius equals new radius. All right, and I guess that means when we set this up, we have to set the radius, or when we do trigger, or maybe that's what we'll do. Let me see. Maybe we'll do that in trigger, because this is coming from action, so we definitely have access to the radius here. I don't think I don't have that there yet. So what we'll do is we'll pass in. I'll change it a little bit. We're going to pass in spell on deck, dictionaries.get or value float radius. So we'll just pass that in and add that parameter to the trigger. And so instead of all this, we will say equals value float, and we're going to call this radius. Okay, and then we can ignore this. Okay, and you know what? Screw that. We don't need that. This is such a small script. Okay. So if the distance is greater than the radius, that means the player's not actually in close by. So we'll return. This shouldn't. Well, it might trigger actually because yeah, the player might be far away. So we'll just check that. Then we get a modifier. Each spell has a little animation curve for damage fall off, so that if you're further away, maybe it won't. The area of effect won't be as much. And you know what? I'm going to call this instant AOE because this is an AOE rather than an area of effect rather than an instant. Instant would not be an area of effect. And so, let's see, damage mod, magic spell, projectile. We don't need that. We already have the damage fall off on this. We got the radius. That should just work magically, of course. And then each player will take the damage. I haven't done anything like modifications of the damage yet, strength against certain types of damage or anything like that, but we'll see in the console they'll spit out, they took damage. So here we can avoid that as well, and we'll do position here. We're going to get actors and radius. We need to figure that out. Position and radius, and remove that. Handle hit on actor. Okay, well, let's find these actors in radius. Now, could we put this into a utility method? I believe we can. I think we can. Let's see. If I copy this to my legend utilities and put it here, make this public static. Public static list of actors and radius give a hit position, and we're also going to need a radius. So float radius, and we'll pass in that. Add actor to list. What does that do? Okay, that just adds it to a list and returns the list. And it only will add it if it doesn't contain it already. So that's an important bit. And I have it separated because it happens twice. If we get the main actor, then we're going to add it. And if we get the hitbox, we're going to add it. But that's why we need to check to make sure that... Oh, I should zoom in, sorry. That check to make sure that this is doesn't already contain it. Whole line completion suggestions like IntelliCode and Visual Script. I don't know. I know it does a lot more than the suggestions and completions and all that. It does a lot more than I use it for. I know that. And I've seen and been told by others, that it can do a lot of just auto completion with hotkeys and stuff that I don't utilize at this point. Yep. All right, so this actually should work. We're just getting a hit position radius and then going with that. So with that in mind, I'm going to go back to add that here. And instead of this, we're going to say legend and utilities dot actors and radius. Whoops. And we're going to pass in our radius. And then that means we can remove all of this. And here we can do something similar. Legend utilities. And pass in our radius. All right. Y. Missing one. All right. And then handle hit on actor. Nope, it's not here. It's on this one. Handle hit on actor. What do we do for this? Oh, this is on the arrow collision. That's an interesting one. I think. Yeah, I mean, I guess we do want this still because of this, all this stuff. This has that built in. I think what we really need to do is pass. Let's see, the actor and the damage mod, and what else? There's one. No, that was it. And then the shooter is attached to the arrow collision. So in a way, what we can do is copy this, and instead of shooter, do we have the caster? We do. So we're going to do caster. All right. So handle hit on actor, caster, play hit audio. We're not doing that for these. That is if it uses our built-in audio thing, which is kind of like, well, it uses the medieval battle sounds pack from Infinity PBR, but it has like sword on leather, wood on shield, axe on metal, etc. And that method just kind of makes that easier to utilize, but we don't need that here. So really, we just need this, and I guess we really only need this. We don't need this part at all. All right, so this is going to say get the distance, get the mod from the curve, send the damage to the target, modified. Okay, that's cool. And let me add some notes here real quick. Return if this can't damage players, and then otherwise grab the distance to the two players from this spell, and then if it's greater, then return players. Whoops, players are out of range. Evaluate the damage mod with the curve, and then for each player, send the damage, modified damage. Okay. And then up here, radius equals radius. Cache that, and cache that, and debug. All right, we can remove this on the bad guys and NPCs on our players. Okay, perfect. So that should cause some damage. That's the idea. Hi, Corey. You're always sus of code writing code. Do you find Copilot guesses what you want correctly? Oh, I see. I see what you mean. I got confused for a second. Yeah, oftentimes it does. if you're talking about the writer stuff, the suggestions I get, oftentimes it's right, but if you're talking about the Visual Studio stuff, I have no idea. Let's see.
This will come in handy.
Yes, it will. All right, let's see if we actually get some damage caused. Nope. No damage was done. That should damage everyone, but it didn't. All right. Found 0 actors in radius. That could be why. Found 0 actors in radius. Why did it find 0 actors in radius? This makes no sense. All right. Position. Hit position. And radius. Are we including actions? We're not. And in fact, I need to pass that because I don't think this will have access to that. So we actually need to pass the layer mask too. So we're passing layer mask, and it's going to be this layer mask. Layer my mask. There we go. Layer mask. So we're going to pass in this layer mask and anything else that will cause an issue. I don't think so. All right, so now we gotta go to these and pass in the layer mask. So for the, let's see, screen click layer mask. I think that will work. Yeah, that should be right. Let's give it a try. Give it a try, the old college effort. Hello, Shadowed Souls Studios. Lots of S's there. It goes good. I actually have 4 days off of work. We get tomorrow off just because, probably because of COVID still. They did it last summer and they're doing it again this summer. And then Monday is Juneteenth celebration or Recognition Day, since it's actually the 20th. And we have that day off. And so I stopped working a couple hours early. Everything was done though, really, so it was okay. Plus, earlier this week I had like a 90-minute call or 2-hour call at 10 p.m. my time, and that was just late. So it all evens out in the end.
This will come in handy.
All right. Oops. And damage? Nope. Found 0. Radius 0. Well, that would explain that one. Why was the radius 0? Radius is 0 here. And trigger, float radius. Why is this here? Value float, spell on deck, radius. Let me check that spell on deck. We're just using Magic Missile Novice for all of these because I know 4 days off of work. You can expect some streaming this week, I think, this weekend. Oh, it's because AOE radius. AOE. Area of effect radius. That's the one thing I need to figure out. I've got these dictionaries and they've got these strings, but I need to figure out a way to like auto-populate the string names when you're coding, because that's the second time today that I've made that mistake and used radius, not AOE radius. Yeah. All right, so that should solve that. Don't forget to like and subscribe, everybody. And thanks for coming. hope you enjoy your time.
This will come in handy.
Magic missile. And... oh, alright, good. I thought I was going to have to do this. So, we notice, I'm sure, you can tell me what you notice. Let's do it again. Ready? Tell me what you notice. I notice that he reacts, this goblin reacts before it actually falls on his noggin. See? Now, that should happen regardless of where... yeah, see? That's not good. So, now this spell is an interesting one. And I actually was thinking about this and thinking, I'm glad I chose this particle. This is from Realistic Effect Pack 4 because there's really 2 points in the spell, right? 1 and then 2. So what I need to do is have 2 delays, really. 1 delay on that, and then the second delay on that, which will give damage to everybody around it. So the first damage is the on the main actor, and the second one is on the others. Oh yeah, you like the orb? Well, I made a whole video about that. I'm very proud of that video because I was if we go to my YouTube, where's my YouTube? There's my YouTube. You can see that video right here, UI and particles, and I'm gonna send this right here so you can all check that out because I'll start at a later time, I guess. But yeah, I'm really proud of that. You want to see what's really cool? Here, we'll make it bigger, just to make it bigger. What's really cool is if I go into turn-based mode, it changes color. And so now we're in turn-based mode. And then I've got these to hotkeys right now, and if I'm gonna have it set up once, later, that when I'm close to an enemy, and maybe you've got to have the right buff cast, but when you're close to an enemy, it turns red. And when you're close to a treasure, it turns pink. Or some other color. So yeah. Yeah, pretty sweet. I'm really happy with that, actually. At first, I was happy with the original one, which was just like a fog in the middle. And then I thought to myself, I wonder if I can make it swirl. And there is an orbital. I played with the orbital option in the particle system. I didn't quite get to do what I wanted it to do, so I went with my technique of just 2 directions that kind of end up looking like it's swirling, even though it's not at all swirling. So, yeah. Yes, I generally do like events. However, I'm not sure about that for this one. Because there's no animation attached. And I'm used to animation events, and I don't know about doing events on a particle thing. I might change it later. So I think I'm just going to put it in here, really, and just code it. I mean, it's already getting pretty long getting into the spaghetti world. If. But, yeah, I mean, I guess this is the thing. I just need. I actually, I'll tell you what. At first, I had a lot of that kind of data on the actual projectiles themselves. So I have this fireball one that I was working on, and that's where I did this magic spell projectile. And I actually realized that some of the stuff that I had here originally doesn't fit very well there because it fits better on the spell data, which is here. and that was the radius, because I needed that information in other places. Basically, I needed that information to live here because this is the thing that everything connects with. And the spell itself, the particle, that doesn't happen until it's spawned. So it had to be at a higher level, at a space place before that. So what I think, though, I think that what I could do is, since the delay is really a particle thing, right? Then I think the delay would fit here. Here we go. So the delay would fit on this test meteor where we have an instant AoE. Instant's now going to be not really instant, but we're going to do public. So the header and options. We'll do public bool delay initial damage equals false, and actually we'll just do float equals 0f, and then delay AoE damage, and so this is good. Yeah, I think that's pretty straightforward, but it's basically if it's 0 then there's no delay, otherwise there's a delay. And some of you might be able to help me with enumerators or enumerables, because this is a thing that always freaking confuses me and I never get it right. Yeah, I never get it right, and I always revert to just doing a counter, which is perfectly fine too. Actually, I should do a counter, because the game might pause between. Yes, so I will do a counter. So never mind. And we're going to say delays. So we will do private float initial timer equals 0f, and private float AoE timer equals 0f, and we'll do this timer initial and timer AoE. Okay, and when we need a public or private, just void update. So we will do timer initial equals delay initial damage, and then timer AoE equals delay AoE damage. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, wait, I could probably just use these, but I can always change that later. And okay, so set the timers. Set the timers, and I think then we can. Yeah, I don't think I need to set the timers. I don't think I need those two at all. Let's just see. And okay. So right now, handle actor damage handles everyone. So I think what we're gonna do, we're gonna make yeah, okay. This is what we'll do. Initial damage will have a smaller radius. So we will have up here public float initial radius, and yeah. So what we're gonna do then is say this is the trigger. And private bool delay equals false. So what we'll do is we will say if delay initial damage, actually, yeah, we don't even need to do that at all. What we're doing is instead we are setting those we are calling this here. We will do initial damage, and then AoE damage. So these are going to do initial damage, we'll say if delay initial damage is greater than 0, then we will reduce it. And we will continue or return. Otherwise, private bool did initial equals false. Private bool did AoE equals false. All right. And we also add if did initial, then return. Okay. Finally, we will whoa, that's not what I wanted. Mini timer. Hey, Oliver. I'm reading all your messages now. Yeah. I might end up refactoring this later into a timer class or something like that. But let's get it working first and refactor it later. All right, so initial damage, if we already did it, return. If it's greater than 0, then do that and then return. Otherwise, we will handle the initial, and this is where we're going to pass in float this radius. So we'll pass in our initial radius. On each of these. And we're going to have to keep track of our... Okay, yeah. So this radius instead, and this radius instead, and then on the other one we'll pass in the other radius. We're also going to keep track of who we hit. That's going to be an important bit. So we'll do the damage on this radius. That's basically it. That should be pretty straightforward for that. The other one is going to be basically the same, I think, but we're going to have to check a couple other things, I believe. And so we're going to pass in radius on these. However, we need to make this the other counter. And did AoE, and I need game time. So we need game time using static infinity.legend of the stone shot game. So we are going to multiply this by game dot data dot yeah. yes. So basically, pause level is what we're dealing with. So I'm going to say if pause level. We're gonna have to change freeze the particles on this too. If game dot data dot game time dot well, actually we already have this in game dot pause level is greater than or equal to 2, I believe. Then return. Basically, if we're paused, we don't want to keep the counter going. So that's what this should do. I believe 2 is the right one. 0 is... Oh. I gotta change this. I don't need to do a counter at all. What I need to do is on trigger, we will set okay, so I'm going to make these time. Oh, that one was missing the R anyways. Okay, so on trigger, let me just move this up because it's starts earlier. So we'll move that up here. So on trigger, we're going to say, oh, these are supposed to be underscores. Oops. Okay. We're going to do time initial is equal to game dot game time no data dot game time dot now plus, and this is where we're going to do our delay initial. There we go. And oops. And then game time AOE is going to be that plus this. And then that's that. And then we'll do our initial damage. So all we really have to do is say, if we already did it, return, screw pause level. And if the time for AOE is greater than game time now, and I'm going to make this a property, right? It's going to be, I think it's a double actually. Double now equals that. Private double now. Whoops. So we'll change this to now. Oh, well. Now. No. Whoops. We do float. Alright. So now, so if time for AoE is greater than now, then we'll return. Otherwise, we will do that and we will say did AoE, whoops, AoE equals true. There we go. That's actually much simpler too, or at least the code is simpler. Oop, I can't type. And so the other one's going to be very similar. If we did initial, then we'll return, remove that, and if the time for initial is greater than now, then we will return as well. Otherwise, we will do our damages, and we will say did initial equals true. Okay, that's better. Hi, Tony. How are you? I bet there is if else in every single shipped title out there. Maybe just a little less for the ones that are coded better or differently. Less if else, the better the coding is, I suppose. All right. Now we just need to keep track of who we hit. That's going to be the new addition. So what we're going to do is say bool initial equals false. And we're going to get a list of so we'll do private list actor initial actors equals new list actor. So we're going to, when we do our initial damage, we're going to pass that this is initial, and private bool initial players equals false. So for the players one, we will say so we're just returning. If we don't get the players, then we're going to return and not do initial players. But if we did hit the players, so if initial, then initial players equals true. Or just initial players equals initials. Initial. If we make it here. All right. That way we will say then if not initial and initial players, then return. We already hit players with the initial attack. We need another thing here. I'm gonna have to come back to this because the reality is if these are both 0, then we're just gonna do this once. Yeah. Okay, and then for the actors one, for each actor, what we're gonna do is if initial, then we're gonna say initial actors dot add actor, and then else. See, we're doing an else. If we're not initials, we're just gonna say if initial actors dot contains actor, then continue. There we go. So, oh gosh. So we're gonna say add this actor if this is the initial run. Otherwise, if not initial run, skip if this actor has been done. All right. That should work. Keep track of it if we're in the initial, otherwise check, and if it's in the list already, then continue. All right, so that should technically work, I think. Okay. Now, the other thing is if time delay. I mean, what happens if they're both 0? If they're both 0, I mean, there's no world in which the initial can be greater than the AoE. Well, I mean, I guess unless the spell comes outward and goes in. But that would be a completely different logic. So let's not handle that now, because that would be very different. It would be a cool spell, though. But that would have to be handled differently, because then you'd have to not do the initial radius and then do the, and then you'd have, yeah, that would be different. So there's no world in which AoE or delay AoE can be bigger than initial AoE. So what we will do is, if they're both 0, then both of them will trigger here. But if they're both 0, we should just do it and handle those. So what we'll do is, if delay, if do not delay, then we will do did AoE, did initial equals true, and did AoE equals true, and we will simply handle those. And do not delay is going to be do not delay is true if delay initial equals less than equals 0 and delay AoE is less than equal to 0. Yep, and then the other thing is yeah, if delay AoE is greater than delay initial, then we'll just say delay AoE equals delay initial. Just to check for that, because it would be weird to do it the other way. Yeah. All right. And if that's the case, then they'll just happen back to back and just inefficient. But this should happen. So if we're not delaying, then we should just do it. And then we'll set those to true, so this won't happen anymore. And we're done. Somewhere we need to make sure this gets destroyed. I think it does get destroyed, but who knows? All right, is it time to test it? I think it's time to test it, just to see what happens. All right. And the other thing I wanted to do is increase the radius, because I don't think the radius was as big as the particle radius, nor big enough to get both bad guys at once. I had the radius to 4. I think I need to make the radius 5. Okay, we'll see if this works. This will come in handy.
This will come in handy.
All right, magic spell time. Okay, it didn't delay. Oh, because I didn't set the delay, did I? Nope, I didn't. But I can. Let's do that. But they both got attacked, so that's coolio. Where's my prefabs? Particles, projectiles. Probably projectiles. I need to rename that, but that's okay. Delays. Delay initial damage will be 0.5, we'll just say, and AoE we'll do 2. It felt like it was about 2 seconds, right? Let's find out. All right, well, that definitely didn't happen at the right time. I don't think this initial one triggered, right? Yeah, so they both got hit. Yeah, radius 5. Oh, look at that. It actually, okay. We can look at our debug log, our console, because they're being spat out. Information's being spat out, so. Okay, so they happen at the same time. But it did find one in each. They just happen to happen at the same time. So that's the issue here, is that they happen at the same time. I don't know why. Let's see. Is my code right? If time is greater than now, then return. Make sure we are setting our time. Debug.log. Do not delay. Otherwise, if the delay for AOE is greater than initial, then it should match initial. Ah, that's why. That's the bug. This is supposed to be less than, not greater than. That's actually a relatively common mistake for me to make. The less than greater than thing. Boom, 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 boom. All right. This should work, I hope. All right.
This will come in handy.
All right, so I believe. Oh, that was quite the delay, wasn't it? It seemed like that was more than 2 seconds. Let's see. Let's try again. All right. That was more than 1 second, though, right? I mean, am I wrong here? It feels like those were extra delayed. All right. Well, that's a little bit better, but it still feels like it more than my timing is maybe. Let me just count it out. The first one works well. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. What? Oh, are they not in the right? Are they not close enough now? Okay, well, they're not close enough now, so let me change my radius. Make our radius just much bigger. Make it 7. Okay. I've gotten to the point now where I write emails or Slack messages or something, and most of the time I don't even fix my misspellings. I just figure if people can't accept me with my misspellings, I don't have time for going back and fixing all those. Right? Who has time for fixing misspellings? All right. All right. Well, that timing worked, but it's more than a second. So let me do a debug log here because I want to get this right. I want to make sure the timing's right. That doesn't make any sense, right? So we're going to say debug. We already have the okay. Setup. Now is now. Oops. Now is now. Initial is time initial with delay initial. AOE is time AOE with the delay of delay AOE damage. So we just want to see that the math lines up. All right. because it wasn't lining up, in my opinion. Yeah, Aaron, I'm trying to do something similar, I think, if I'm understanding your game architecture yourself. The problem is I've learned a lot of cool tricks and tips and ways of doing things, and of course I'm probably abusing many of them and using some of them slightly incorrectly. And then there's probably more that I just don't know yet, but you know, as long as it works, that's the most important thing. And then beyond that. All right, so let's see. So now is this number 38, 35. So that math is right, and that math is right. That's so strange. But it seems like the timing is really off. That's like 2.5 seconds. That's so strange. I mean, it worked. Oh. I accidentally clicked the ground. I need to add a option to not accept a click for like half a second after that menu closes, because I've double clicked accidentally so many times. All right. So we got hits, by the way, the damage. Okay. Now I want to be too close. Cancel that. Be too close to them. Ah! And see, the players took damage there too. Alright, good. So everyone took damage. The players don't react yet. But they will. Alright. I don't know why the math isn't working. So now I also need to figure out. It's not the animation. The animations are just the particle just does its thing. There's no delay in the animation. I don't think, because it just happens fast in every other scenario. See, watch. Well, if I didn't miss, there we go. Yeah. So, anyways, figure that out. The other thing is, and this is, I'm gonna end up doing my own particles for this or something, because I really like the particles from Realistic Effects Pack 4, but there's a lot going on, and I'm not entirely sure how to pause it all when I pause, you know. So I think I'm not going to worry about pausing right now, and I will worry about that another time, because I also want to pause the sound effects, I suppose, or something. I don't know how to handle that at all yet. But the idea is that if I cast this
will come in handy.
If I cast this and then pause again, I want that to stop, see? Yeah. Anyways, that part's working. All right, so I had also the fireball working, and I can show you that real quick because all I'm doing to test these, I'm going into my Magic Missile Novice, and I'm changing this to these, and then I'm not changing much of the rest. This one does not target ground, and it is a projectile, so I do have to change those. And now it should just magically work. Magically, get it. Yeah, so the game time is my timer class. I was just, when I initially was thinking about it, was just forgetting that existed. But game time is my timer class and has a tick and all that. And that now is essentially keeping track of the game time when it's not paused, and also, of course, turn-based, where game time doesn't progress when you're waiting for input from the player. Whoops.
This will come in handy.
So this is now fireball. So now doesn't target the ground, so you can see that it's I can target the air and I can shoot it straight into the air, and then it explodes at the distance. So it's right now set to 30 meters, so I can target things up to 30 meters, and I can go up to 30 meters. But once I go beyond 30 meters from the ground, you can see it says, oh, you're going to hit the ground. Then it goes to the air. And it does cool things like hit the trees. Of course, it hits bad guys. There's also an area of effect on this one, but it is off. It shouldn't be that big, but whatever. And then for these ones, like if I were to target right there, it would still hit him. So that's cool. So I like this spell a lot. It's really cool. Again, it needs to pause, but oh, this one does pause. The projectile code has code that pauses the projectile itself, but yeah. So that's that. And then Magic Missile Novice was basically the projectile without the AoE. So the next one. Does it have something like a timeout event objects can subscribe to? No, it doesn't. Sorry, I'm yawning and stretching. Instead, it just has it progresses the timer when various things, basically when there's a pause level thing that, depending on the pause level, it might keep the timer going. And so essentially things should just check whether or not their time is above that. And then if they're worried about pausing, then they check the pause level. Some things can keep moving during a pause. Some things can't. And it depends on the pause level. And that's where I'll need to work on that another time, I think. That's not a today problem. A today problem is figuring out what's the next spell type to test. So I've got a particle that just does one enemy that only attacks enemies. Actually, let me test that. Because, let's see, it is a projectile. Area radius is 0. Targets actor, yes. I just want to make sure that I never tested this one being able to cast it by clicking. But I just want to make sure this particle is not as pretty as the rest, so don't judge me. Let's see.
This will come in handy.
The only cool thing about this particle, alright, so it does have that, is that, oh, it doesn't even move. How sad. Why it's not moving? 78. What's going on? Pause. Actor target. Alright, let me start over and see what's going on here. What did I change that made this not work all of a sudden? All right. Let's see.
This will come in handy.
Okay, so that's working. This is working. Can I just... Nope. Okay. So when I try to actually cast it, that's when we have an issue. Spell on deck, blah, blah, blah. Bloody, bloody, blood, blah, blah. Okay. Cast spell projectile. This is in the actions. New spell. Magic spell. Setup. Do I not have magic spell on here? I should. Let me just see though. Magic missile novice. Magic spell projectile. This should work because it is a magic spell. And we should have the new that. So what is causing the null reference? Let's find out. Oops. Yeah, we'll say active player. It could just be this magic thing, but I don't know. And game. We'll just say player dot name. All right. And if those aren't working, then it is the magic spell. But that's weird because it was working before. I mean, I guess maybe this one wasn't working. I just didn't realize it. That's always possible, I suppose. You know, I went to the store today to buy some Frito scoops to go with my spicy jalapenos. And they were on sale a couple weeks ago. They're still on sale, so I bought them. Safeway. 3 for $1.99 each, which is a fine price to pay. But the regular price is $5.29 for basically a small bag of chips. It's not worth $5.29. It's worth $2. It's worth $3, but it's not worth $5.29. And you know, Frito-Lay, we know what you're doing. We know that you just raised prices just to see if we'll pay it.
This will come in handy.
This guy won't. Okay. All right. Where was my issues? Should have set. So we are targeting our end range. So it did. Wait, but. Oh, active player, spell on deck, first person camera. Okay. So this is where it gets the issue. And then what's this other one? It's a completely different place. Okay, well, that's very different. Okay, let's solve the first one first then. So magic spell isn't... And then there's random people outside. Okay. Yeah, it's not inflation though, Aaron. Remember, it's not food inflation. It's price increases. Inflation's a small part of all the price increases that we're seeing. It's all the companies. If you check their earnings reports, they're all making record profit from their sales because they all raised prices. And they've raised prices more than they had to because they could. Because never miss a good opportunity to raise prices and hide it behind inflation. All right. Why is this not... If I think that should work. If I have magic spell particle which is derives from magic spell, then I thought it would work, right? But maybe not. Cast spell projectile. Let's try it and see. Try it and see. I finally downloaded that Diablo game on my iPhone, and I play a little bit. I have to say, my iPhone has a small screen. I've got the mini, and the screen's really small. It's bigger than the original iPhone screen, but man, that screen is really small. It's hard to see any detail in that game.
Will come in handy.
I only played for like 10 minutes. All right. Didn't work. Okay. Oh. Did I just... Let me see. I may have done the wrong thing here. Yep, I did. That's what I did. All right. So let me go back here. And... Not this one. What? Where's my... This one. Undo that change and... Where are my debugs? Didn't I type 3 debugs up here? And now they're gone? They're here. So did I do it on a different script? Maybe. 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 Wait. I don't know what happened. The longer I go without quitting Unity, the longer it takes to start and stop.
This will come in handy.
All right. There we go. Yeah, so this is just a boring particle compared to those others. But it goes up and down, and it only attacks a single, whoops, a single thing. And can I do the air? Yes, so I can shoot at the air. And it does explode as expected. But if it doesn't hit directly, that one hit directly. If it doesn't hit directly, oh, that's locking on. So that one worked. Yeah, there we go. All right. So what we don't have yet is, let's see, we have an instant, which is meteor, with an area of effect. We need an instant that is not an area of effect and just is where you cast it. And we need like buffs. Well, I need one that I need to also test one that is still playing that. Total War Attila. Every once in a while I go on Steam. What I'm really looking for is games like Might and Magic 6 and stuff, but they don't have them. What I also will need to test is a spell that can be cast on actors and the players, with particles that are appropriate for each of them. Player has the portrait. Like a cure spell, a healing spell would be appropriate to be cast on either. You probably wouldn't want to heal the bad guys, but you could, I guess, suppose. That could be a quest to heal a bad guy and save their life, and then you solve the quest or something. They join you. Who knows what, but Yeah, so I need to test a instant one that is not area of effect. And so let's try that. So going back to my spell here, this will be a not a projectile, no radius, doesn't target the ground, but does target the actor, and can't cast on player. Okay, and then we will find, I think we can do a cool one from Realistic Effects Pack 4. Let's look for a cool one from Realistic Effects Pack 4. Or 3. I've got both in here. And Mesh Effect, but I don't think I'll be using that. I think I might have some other effects ones too. Who knows? Alright. I changed some stuff, and I think that's why it's giving me no references. I'm not sure. Alright, next effect. Nope. 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 I do like that gravity thing, though. Nope. 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 That's another one chest. A tornado. I think what I really will just use is one of these explosions. Oh, I like this one too. I like that one too. Those ones aren't working. Okay, that one was pretty cool. What's this? Effect 21? So, effect 21. Parts 21 collision. I think this is the one I want. Yeah, so what I'll do is create empty. We're going to say test soul explosion. Just made up a name. Bring this under here, put it at 0. Okay, that's probably fine. The problem is I like these, but they have got scripts on them that there's a lot of stuff going on here, and there's a fair number of scripts on here, and I'm like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like camera shake. I don't need a camera shake, so we're gonna turn that off. Point light's fine, but you know, I mean, there's a lot going on, and wind curves. I mean, the wind zone. That's cool, but yeah, we don't need that now. Okay, we'll make this a particle. Keeping the same one, and we need to add on instant AoE. So magic spell instant. Oh, not area of effect. Let's just duplicate this one, and we're going to call it just magic spell instant. Alright, so we don't need that. We don't need that. We don't need the delays. Don't need... We might need delay, actually. So let me go back a little bit. We don't need the AoE delay. We don't need that. We don't need that. Oh, so we might need this. Okay. Okay. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. We'll redo that. We'll redo that. Okay. And that's going to be delay effect and private void delay effect. And on delay effect, we will just do this. If did initial, then return. And we will rename some stuff. Time delay and did effect and initial players, initial actors, don't need those. Okay. Don't need that. Right? Don't need that. Don't need that. Okay. I think that should work. And now we can add it to this one. You killed Attila the Hun? That's everybody's grandfather, though. Alright. So skill's going to be air magic. For now. Damage min, we're just going to make stuff up. This is going to be anywhere from 2 to 5 and 1 to 3 per skill point. Not AoE. It can damage players. No fall off needed. Initial damage. Maybe we'll do a delay. Maybe not. We'll see. And then put this as a prefab. Particles. Projectiles. Putting them all on the projectiles, even though it's not projectile, just for ease of placement. And then go back to my scene. Iron port. Oh yeah, I am thinking of Genghis Khan. No, I think they're both. I think they're both our grandfathers. Because no, I'm thinking of Attila the Hun. Because Attila the Hun is the one on the steps of right? I think so. I think so. Either way, you know, we share probably a ton of grandparents in the end. Yep. What am I looking for? I got sidetracked. I got distracted. This one. And I need to make sure I put in soul explosion. Alright, so range is 30. That's how far away I can attack. It targets an actor. It's not a projectile, no area, doesn't target the ground. Alright. Let's see if it magically works. That'd be nice if it does. This would also be a similar one for if I had Can Cast on Player selected, then I could click the portraits, or I could click something in the world.
This will come in handy.
Alright, so it seems to be working. Ooh. It does indeed. Well, it did stuff, but it's clearly not doing everything. That's cool. Alright. That was fun. Sorry if I blew your ears off. Yeah, it's because of if you did the math on all of our grandparents for the 7 point whatever billion people, if we weren't relayed at all, it would be like quadrillions or whatever people would be required to have made us. But it's pretty clear that I think even like that we have basically a single common ancestor, male and female. The male was like 8,000 years ago, and the female was much longer than that ago or something. But it's like kind of ridiculous when you break it down. How I should not have. Damn it! I accidentally cleared it. I got distracted again by the conversation. Also, I'm getting tired. That's the other reason. But I want to get this working. Okay.
This will come in handy.
I bet it will. Alright, where's the error? Alright. Error. Where is it? Do we see it? There it is. A null reference exception. Cast spell at point. Oh. I don't have AoE. Okay. Let's figure this one out. So, cast spell at point happens when I try to do that, and So I guess this is an opportunity for an if spell on deck dot dictionaries dot value value float AoE radius is greater than 0, then we will do this. And I think I can't just do... Oh, I can do magic spell. Okay. Okay. Can I do this? Might not. Okay. Magic spell script. We'll just call it magic spell. Else, if and not else, just magic spell equals that without the AoE. The problem, though, is that trigger is not in magic spell. So I need to add trigger to magic spell as just an empty virtual. It does nothing. Whoops. Yeah. Can I do return like that? No. Nothing like that? Okay. Alright. Can I just do blank? No. Okay. Whoops. Meant to go back to the other script. Ah, All right. There we go. And then on instant, without the AoE, trigger doesn't really care about the radius. So we don't need the radius at all. Don't need the radius, don't need the radius. Don't need the radius, don't need the radius. Do we need the radius? No, we don't. What do we need? Magic spell. Caster. Blah 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 blah. Player caster. We don't need the radius at all, so I want to remove that and just keep it simple, because this whole distance thing doesn't need to be captured. In fact, what we really just need is the target. And we're not handling player damage. Well, actually, we will, but differently. We just really need to do this. And we just need the actor. We don't need damage mod. And then for this, it's going to be can cast on player. And can cast on player. Where is this? Hmm. 8% of humans living in Asia and his former empire. That's still a lot of people. That is a lot of people. Am I overthinking this? Could be overthinking this in my attempt to make it simpler. So the reality is that what we need to do here is know whether we're casting on a player or an actor. And if it's an actor, just do it. If it's a player, just do it. No damage mod. We just need to know who the player is, and we need to know who the actor is. So for this one, we will do public actor target actor and public player target player. And we will also say if target player equals null, return. And we'll do the same. What's this? New propagation. Yes. So if target actor Why is that if equals null, return? All right. Well, I guess because of the player thing there. And really, player is part of target actor, so I might be able to make that even more simple. Okay, so here then, if we do that, then magic spell dot target player set target player. Okay. Set target player, and this is in magic spell, but here we're just gonna do return, and then we'll make this virtual, and then in our instant we'll say public virtual override void set target player, and we're gonna say target player equals target player, and this is gonna be new target player. Okay. Whoops. All right. So now in my actions, if we're doing an instance that isn't AoE, we'll set the target player and then cast spell at point. There's two places that we can go this: when a mouse click or an enemy. If we do mouse click, then we can't do this. So if it's an instant and we're not targeting a player, then we just need to return. So if target player equals null, then we're going to return, because that means we can't do this spell without a target. And that will be the case when we choose on mouse click. But if we do on enemy, then we can pass in we've got the enemy here, so pass in enemy get actor dot player. Okay. And we will still have to handle the player version of this as well, for if it can cast on player. But that might be handled in a different way. So we'll see. All right. All right. Maybe it'll work this time.
This will come in handy.
All right, well that was not supposed to happen. So that wasn't supposed to happen. That wasn't supposed to happen. None of this was supposed to happen. All right, well. I don't. Why is magic spell projectile coming into play? Line 494. Oh, interesting. Set up active player. What line? 35? Oh, it doesn't have the arrow collision on it. So I guess it still needs arrow collision because that's how we're passing who the caster was. That makes sense. So arrow collision. Destroy delay. Turn off render on hit. No. 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 Okay. Let's try that. Inventory.
This will come in handy.
Okay, well that wasn't supposed to happen. That wasn't supposed to happen. So we'll have to figure that out. Alright, well, it did hit. I mean, it kind of worked there. Okay. Let's see. Did it actually make the target do something? Okay. So he got hit. I don't see the damage thing. That's why I'm looking for like the report of damage. Unless I didn't write that in. Took damage, took damage. Huh. Oh yeah, took damage. Player position. Goblin fighter. Took damage. Okay, good. Now, why'd that happen? This is try a cast on mouse click. And then to the point. I thought we had the whole point of that whole other stuff, right? Okay. Okay. Where is that other stuff? Right here. So try to cast it now. So that's fine because it's fine that it tries, you know, and it does all this. I don't really care. That's not like gonna change the speed of the game, I don't think. But 445. It's just a debug log. Casting point spell. Okay. So this happens because of this. Alright, that's good. 460. Target player should be null. All right, yeah. That's target player apparently wasn't null, but it should be null. Okay, try again. Knuckle crack.
This will come in handy.
Oops. Clear this out. I mean, really, this shouldn't be happening at all. This shouldn't even show me the spot there. So there's no. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to go back and figure that out. So first of all, the preview shouldn't be showing for this because it can't do that. It has to be targeting on a thing. So I think I just need to go take a step back and maybe take 2 steps back to really figure out why it's doing that, because it shouldn't be doing that. It shouldn't be showing the preview, and it shouldn't be allowing me to click the ground and having it cast or in the air. That should only work when it's attached to a target that is within range. So I'll have to figure that out. But it's been a long week and I'm tired, and it's been about 2 hours. So it's time for me to take a break, get some spicy jalapenos in my mouth, and see how that tastes. It'll taste good. So thanks for watching. Thanks for coming out. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you have a great night. I will probably be streaming tomorrow. Later, I will probably figure out what time I want to stream tomorrow, and I will schedule it. It's probably going to be in the morning-ish, maybe around 10 or 11 a.m. Pacific time. If you're around and not working, but lucky to have the day off, so that's cool. I'm going to make use of it by making a game, or more of a game, not the full game. But yeah, so thanks all for hanging out, and have a great day. Thanks.